Hey guys, and welcome to another walk with me video. Today I'm going through this nature walk. I just wanted to get some fresh air and enjoy this sunshine. It is actually a perfect, beautiful day in February. I'm really surprised that the weather is so warm. It is in the 60s right now, and there is not a cloud in the sky, so I thought I would come out here and enjoy this scenery. There's a lot of wildlife out here, like birds and turtles. And it is just a quiet, peaceful walk in the woods. So today I just wanted to talk about some healthy habits that I adopted in the last 1 or 2 years to make me a better person and just improve my life. I improved my health by doing these things, and I also just became a more happy, positive person. I really started being more mindful of my actions and thinking deeply about my purpose in life. I evaluated the behaviors that I was partaking in that were holding me back in life, and I made the changes to try to improve myself so I can get the most out of life and be the best I can be. So a lot of these changes are going to be very basic and common knowledge, but I'm going to include them anyway just because they are great reminders, and I just want to include everything I did. So the first thing I did to improve my life is I stopped spending so much money, and I started really following a strict budget in order to pay off my student loans and build savings. I did a whole video recently on the things I have done to save money in the last year. So if you guys want to check that out, I will have that linked in the description. But briefly, some of the things I changed to save more money is I stopped buying coffee and takeout. I started cooking at home 99% of the time, and I really budgeted my groceries. I stopped buying clothes and jewelry that I don't need, and I completely decluttered my closet and got rid of anything that I don't need, and I took inventory of everything I own so I don't continue to buy any unnecessary clothing items. I started really thinking about the way I was spending my money, and I was asking myself every time I made a purchase whether or not this was something that I truly needed, and if it wasn't, I just opted out. I overall just adapted my life to be more minimalistic and simple. I let go of my desire for tangible material things because at the end of the day, they aren't what made me happy, and I am better off saving my money and paying off my student loans and really focusing on spending money on what truly matters. Becoming more frugal lifted a huge weight off my shoulder. I was no longer as stressed about money because I know that I'm doing everything I can to save, and I'm not spending on anything that I don't need. I'm also not overwhelmed by clutter and unnecessary items that I have to keep organized in the house. So this definitely relieved stress and I think improved my mood overall. It made me grateful for the things I have, and I began looking at life in a more appreciative way. So the second thing I did that changed my life was I started eating healthier. I feel like I'm going to do a whole video on this topic soon because there's a lot to talk about with this, but basically I changed my diet so that I was eating mostly whole foods. I stopped eating a lot of processed foods and refined carbs. I now eat fruits, vegetables, meats, fish, eggs, and complex carbs like multigrain bread and whole wheat pasta. I'm very mindful of the types of foods that I eat, and I try to eat enough protein to fuel my muscle growth. I'm just overall more mindful of my nutrition, so I will definitely talk about this more in a future video. But the point of this is to say that changing my diet significantly improved my mental clarity. I stopped having brain fog, and I felt like I was just able to think deeper and more sharply. High sugar and high fat foods are very inflammatory, and I feel like this can prevent you from thinking at your full capacity. It causes you to feel more tired and less productive. And when I changed my diet, I just saw a significant boost in energy. I felt happier and more positive. I felt less sluggish, and I was just able to accomplish more. Going along with my change in diet, I also started exercising more regularly. I already had a habit of going to the gym, but I wasn't as consistent as I am now. Now I go 4 to 5 times per week. If I don't go to the gym, I will take a walk outside and do some outdoor exercises or do exercises in my home with some dumbbells. I started following a more consistent and organized workout routine. So I do this by muscle groups. I work out one muscle group per day, and I also do cardio and abs almost every day. This has also improved my energy, mental clarity, and I think it's also improving my sleep schedule as well. This has a lot to do with increasing my blood flow and circulatory system. And when you have more muscle mass, you have a faster metabolism as well. And I also feel like when you are fit and active, it balances your hormones more so and causes you to have a more regulated mood. The next thing I did to improve my life is improve my sleep schedule. I started going to bed around 9 to 10 p.m. and then I would wake up at 5 to 6. This is something that I have actually fallen off of recently, so I'm going to try to improve my schedule, especially since I have work starting soon. I want to make sure I'm on a regular schedule. But within the last 1 to 2 years, I have made significant improvements on my sleep schedule. I used to stay up till 2, 3 in the morning, and then I would also wake up early around 7 or 8. And this lack of sleep definitely led to some brain fog and depressed mood. So I think sleep is a very important part of your health. And when you have a regular sleep cycle, you can feel more awake, more positive, and you can get more done throughout the day. Another healthy habit that I adopted is just thinking more positively. This is something I have to constantly remind myself because there is a lot of negativity in the world, and sometimes I like to explore those negative topics and understand them. But at the end of the day, I try to think positive and not take life so seriously. I try to not get so caught up in the negative, fearful things happening in the world. I limit my consumption of news. I do listen to some YouTube videos once in a while on current events, but I try to keep my days mostly positive. I do things that uplift me, such as going on these nature walks. Another thing that has really helped me is getting out in the sun for at least 10 to 15 minutes per day. I find that this uplifts my mood and kind of draws my attention towards things going on outside of the home. There's something very therapeutic for me about being in nature and being outdoors in the fresh air. It tends to calm me down and de-stress me. And on these walks, I tend to think of positive thoughts and I reflect on my life. Alright guys, so those are 5 things that I did in the last 1 to 2 years to improve my life and myself as a person. Number 1 is I stopped spending so much money and I was more mindful with my finances. Number 2 is I changed my diet. I started eating more healthy and nutritious, and I cut out a lot of processed, high sugar, high fat foods. Along with this, I also started drinking more water and hydrating myself. Number 3 is I started working out more and doing more physical exercise. I started doing more resistance training, building muscle, and doing something every day to get my blood flowing, even if it's just going for a walk. Number 4 is I started sleeping more regularly. This allowed me to improve my mood and have more energy, and all of these things that I've mentioned have lifted off stress and allowed me to think more sharply. And the last thing, number 5, is I started to think more positively. When I was going into a negative or anxious cycle, I would begin to recognize this and try to think of something more positive. I would spend my days doing positive activities and looking on the bright side of life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this nature walk chat with me. I love picking a random topic to think about during these walks. I know these were some basic healthy habits, but it's always good to have a reminder of these because I think we get so caught up in all of the details of life that we sometimes forget about these basic healthy habits that can improve our mood and allow us to get more out of life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video, and I will see you guys again soon.